What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the channel and welcome to week 10 of the NFL season. Man, it's really been flying by, and I think we still don't really have an identity for this Green Bay Packers football team. It feels like week in, week out, we're wondering what Green Bay Packers team are we going to get? Are we going to get the one that absolutely steamrolled the Pittsburgh Steelers? Or are we going to get the Browns and Panthers version of this Packers football team? And honestly, I don't know what we're going to get this coming Monday, where the Packers take on the Philadelphia Eagles, Monday Night Football, Lambeau Field, the 6-2 Eagles against the 5-2-1 Packers. And at the end of the day, if the Packers end up being in contention for a first seed, which we'll see, long way to go, this game could be the deciding factor to that. So this is a very important interconference game for the Green Bay Packers that we are gonna preview today. Missed last week's preview. I got married, so that was during Friday, so obviously I didn't do the game preview, and I'll actually be leaving to Hawaii Monday morning, so won't be here for the game or after the game. So if the Packers lose or something and you don't see any content, that's not the reason why. I simply won't be back in the studio. Maybe I'll try to do a couple things, couple short videos or something of that sort, but just to let you guys know, really. But appreciate you guys checking in today. If you could hit the like button on the way in, it helps support the channel a ton. We do game previews here every single Friday, at least when I'm here, but 99% of the time. You're from Lehana, Maui? Okay, so I'm going to Oahu. I'll be staying in like near Waikiki and then going up to North Shore for a night as well for one of the luau's up there. So I'm excited. First time ever going. But we do game previews here every single Friday, most Fridays, so long the Packers play on either Sunday or Monday. Where we kind of dive down into some stats, more so lineups, go over some advanced stats, and kind of just overall get a broad outlook of the upcoming game. So if that does interest you, definitely go down and hit that subscribe button. Before we dive in, I want to give a big shout out to this live stream sponsor. That is SeatGeek. So here's a quick word from the sponsor. Guys, the NFL season is in full swing, and if you're looking for affordable Green Bay Packers tickets, look no further than today's video sponsor, SeatGeek. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. Watching a Packers game is always fun, but nothing beats actually going to one, especially when you can find a really good deal on tickets. What I love about SeatGeek the most is it puts its tickets on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being amazing, 1 being bad value. So when you're looking for your tickets, look for the green dots. Obviously, the higher the number, the better the value. Plus, every ticket on SeatGeek is backed by their buyer guarantee. And of course, I have a code for you guys to use. Use code BASERSKI10 to get 10% off your first order of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets on SeatGeek with code BASERSKI10. You can simply click the link down in the description below and have the code automatically added to your account. So the next time you look for tickets, you will get that 10% off. So go check out SeatGeek, look into some future Packers games, but also some concerts and events as well. Again, a big shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this video. So guys, you heard it there best. If you want to look for Packers tickets or concert tickets, event tickets, SeatGeek is your spot. Link down in the description. Unfortunately, I'll also be away for the Giants game in MetLife, which I'm 2 hours away from MetLife. So if I were to be here, I would definitely be going to that game and I would be using SeatGeek to find those tickets. So get your 10% off with code BASERSKI10. All right, so I appreciate you guys coming in. Let's just dive right into this game preview here. Let's move over our screen real quick. Boom. There we go. Thank you guys for all the congratulations as well. It's been an awesome period of my life so far. So thank you a bunch. All right, so we have the Eagles 6-2, Packers 5-2-1. Eagles are 5-3 against the spread. The Packers are 3-5 against the spread, and the Packers are actually favored. But again, when you're home, you are automatically favored. by 3 points. So if this was a neutral site, the Eagles would actually be favored by a half a point. So take that into consideration. And in terms of the spread, 93% of the money is on the Eagles plus 2.5. Believe what you will with that. 83% of the bets are on the Eagles plus 2.5. So, maybe Vegas wants to make a little bit of money and take the Packers with a big win here. In terms of the money line, the Packers, again, are favored minus 129, and the Eagles get plus 108, and they are 84% of the money, 78% of the bets. Caden says no Lambeau Leafs. Yeah, why has that not been happening? Does anyone know? I feel like I haven't. Has there been any this year? Very odd. Very odd. I don't know. Sinister says, I'm going to the Eagles game. Well, hopefully you have a good time. Anytime you can make it out to Lambeau on a primetime game is an awesome game. I was at the Saints one last year, and that was a joy. Didn't really have to pay much attention because we were just whooping them, but that was a fun one. All right, so first let's go over the overall PFF grade ranking. So this is based on PFF grades. It's not by any other metric such as, basic stats, but the overall team ranking via PFF for the Packers is 4th. The Eagles are 7th. For defense, the Packers are 12th. The Eagles are 11th. I don't see how that's the case. I mean, I know it's PFF grades, but when you look at the Eagles defense, they're nowhere near the Packers defense. They're really not. Offense, the Packers are 4th. The Eagles are 6th. Percentage of run plays, we're getting a little bit more towards passing more. We're still a heavy run team. You see this, we run more than the Eagles, 42.2%. We pass the ball 57.8% of the time. The Eagles run the ball 41.4% of the time and pass the ball 58.6% of the time. The Packers are still trying to establish the run, as they should, but man, they've had not great success. I think I saw a stat that Josh Jacobs is the second lowest amount of yards per carry before contact in the NFL. And some quarterbacks and receivers have a higher yards before contact than him. That just showcases that this offensive line has not done a good job run blocking for Josh Jacobs. He's just simply a freak and can make something out of nothing. So that's good to have Jacobs on this team, of course. When we look at the quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts is graded higher than Jordan Love. Passer rating when clean, Love has one of the highest in the NFL. Passer rating under pressure, I think Love has one of, if not the lowest, 42.1 passer rating when under pressure. And teams are sending pressure at Love a lot because of this. Now, saying that, the Eagles are 25th in pressure rate. They only get pressure 33.6% of the time. So keep that in mind. The Eagles don't get a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. So I think this is a favorable day for Jordan Love, in my opinion, considering the Eagles' pass defense is also 18th in the NFL. They also don't stuff the box a lot. They're the least amount of heavy box on defense. The Philadelphia Eagles are 32nd in the NFL. So I think what the Packers could do in this game is, since we lost Tucker Kraft, and that's our blocking tight end. I mean, Fitzpatrick can block as well, but more 6 offensive linemen. And I think Anthony Belton is a good candidate for that. And if the Eagles don't load their box, they're going to play a lot of too high. They're going to just trust their front 7 or front 6, whatever it may be, to do their job. Well, if we load the box a little bit, if you guys remember that Steelers game, there's a drive where the Steelers kept bringing on an extra lineman and had Darnell Washington out there, and we're just running that toss zone, and it went for like 2 huge plays. Yeah, if we can get them into a situation like that, I think we can actually start to find some pretty heavy success in the run game. So as for Jalen Hurts, 125.5 passer rating when clean. Passer rating under pressure, 87.6, so still good under pressure. Big time throw percentage. Love pretty high at 4.75%. Hurts at 3.97%. Turnover worthy play percentage. Hurts at 1.44%, very low. Love not too great, 3.05%. If we look at the Eagles' past schedule, their 2 losses, again, it's kind of like, what Eagles team are you going to get, right? Lost to the Broncos, which they're a streaky team. They lost to the Giants. They just had it that day. They beat the Vikings by 6 points with Carson Wentz. Cool. They just beat the Giants again. Okay, they're banged up. Other than that, they have beat some good teams, right? They beat Kansas City week 2. They beat LA week 3. They beat Tampa Bay week 4. So, the Eagles have had a lot of good opponents they've played against and won. So this is a good football team. Now, after the Broncos and Giants loss, everyone thought the sky was falling and that the Eagles were done and they're not going to be a playoff team even. I didn't buy into that. We were talking about it on Roundtable. Every other host was like, hey, the Eagles are done. And they all predicted Minnesota to win. I was like, how are we predicting Minnesota to beat them with Carson Wentz? Like, I don't get it. The Eagles are still a good football team. They're pretty healthy, too. Now, Jurgens didn't practice yesterday. I'm not sure about today, but everyone else is practicing. Barkley, A.J. Brown, Moro Jomo, all these guys, Adoree Jackson, Jair Alexander is seemingly healthy. I say seemingly. We'll see if he ends up even playing, and if he does, how many snaps against the Packers. But let's dive right down into these lineups. For this Eagles defense, we'll start there. Like I said, they don't load the box. They're 32nd in terms of heavy box rate. Now, when we take a look at their run defense, they are 19th in the NFL. But when you go into the advanced stats, their run stuff percentage, they're 31st. Their run stop win rate, they're 28th. So if there was ever a game for the Packers to really establish the run, it's going to be this one, especially considering what I said earlier, maybe bringing extra O linemen out there and just get the Eagles in unfavorable positions in terms of the hat count, in terms of personnel, and say, hey, we're going to outpower you. You're not going to load the box. You don't get run stuffs. You don't get run stop win rate. Your run stop win rates are low, excuse me. We're going to run the ball, and you're going to have to stop it. I hope the Packers go that route. Now, they're still going to be able to pass the football. Like I said, the Eagles' pass defense is 18th, so it's not like they have a stout pass defense like last year. Like, the Packers are still going to be able to pass the ball, but I think it's going to have to start with the run game and just simply owning the trenches a little bit against this Eagles defense. Speaking of the Eagles defense, let's go over who they got out there. So they got Jalix Hunt, Jalix, I don't know how to pronounce that exactly. I remember him coming out of the draft, Houston Christian. I'm surprised he went in the 3rd round, but I think he's been pretty solid for them. I'm pretty sure. I feel like every time I've watched some of the Eagles, he's made a play or two, but he has a 57.8 PFF grade. On the interior, we have Jalen Carter, who's had a very, very poor run defense grade. And you can see, man, the Eagles' run D has not been good with like their base guys out there, 49.9 run defense grade. Jordan Davis, he's been solid against the run. 12th out of 128 defensive linemen, 72.4. His overall grade is the best on their defensive line, 72.5. Titletown says that hat is fire. Cool story. When I was in the draft, yeah, I got drafted, right? When I went to the draft, I was part of the media group, and they allowed media to go to a like pre-release draft store. It was actually outside Lambeau. It was like a pop-up store, just like in a tent, essentially, right outside Lambeau, because we had the access to the stadium the day before. And inside there, they had every team's draft wear, shirts, hoodies, helmets, hats, everything, like before all that stuff went out of stock and whatnot. And this is their draft hat. And the usual draft hat has a pin that's like the bicycle from training camp, but that wasn't a snapback. It was like a fitted hat, which I don't like. I feel like I need to have the snapback. It's just more comfortable because I can adjust it, But the snapback didn't have a pin. So I went to near the checkout line, and I saw like a little like wall with a bunch of odds and ends and pins and whatnot. And it's actually like a little grill, like a tailgate grill. So I added that on there. It's unique. But I love this hat. It's honestly, I feel like it's the only one I wear now because it is that fire. But yeah. So on the other side, they have Jalen Phillips, who they just traded for. What did they end up giving up? Didn't they give up like a 4th and a 5th round? Something of that sort. He's had a 66.5 grade. Wow, he's been in the league since 2021. Man, time is flying by. I feel like he was just a 1st-round draft pick like 2 years ago. That's crazy. Pass rush grade, 77.8. I'm just glad they didn't get someone like Myles Garrett. I'm just glad. Oh, we got someone coming in from Germany. What's up, man? Okay, so for linebackers, they have Nakobe Dean, 62.2. I think he just was activated, right? Yeah, he's only played in a minimal snap, so I think he's only played, 1 game? 2 games, maybe? And then Zach Bond, who was, I think, the highest graded Linebacker last year, right? Sorry, I had a little brain fart there. I think he was the highest graded linebacker last year. And he's also having a good season. 7th out of 78, 80.0. Pass rush grade 90.1, first in the NFL. Good run defense, good overall grade, good coverage grade. So that's cool to see there as well. Hold on one sec. Let me just check one thing. All right, got that set up. Cool. Sorry, I was just checking my stream real quick. Okay. As for defensive backs for the Eagles, we have Cooper DeJean in the nickel. I didn't realize he's third highest graded, so still having a solid season. You know, last year just blew up with that 86.3, pick 6 in the Super Bowl. All of us Packers fans are like, he was right there. He was right there. Now, would he help us? Yeah, he would help us right now if we had him, but our issue is a boundary corner, not nickel. Now, I think Cooper can play some boundary, but he's obviously his best in the nickel, which we have too many of those guys. Obviously, he would be our best one, but still. We have Quinyon Mitchell on the right side. They're lacking in the outside cornerback room, kind of similar to us, right? They move on from Darius Slay. Quinyon becomes de facto corner number 1 and is kind of struggling in that position. I wouldn't say struggling, but not having the year that he had last year. You know, some teams are picking on him. Now, who they're really picking on and why they made a trade for Jair is Adoree Jackson. He's been one of the worst cornerbacks in the NFL. Yes, worse than Nate Hobbs. He's had a 47.1 grade, 101 out of 106, coverage 102 out of 109. So I would fully believe that Jair's going to play, but it might be starting with Adoree because he's been in the defense and Jair has kind of get, used to this new defense. I hope it's Adoree, but at the same time, I kind of hope it's Jair. He didn't look good in Baltimore, man. The Bills were picking on him, and I think the Packers can too. And I do want to see like a Golden or a Christian Watson versus Jair. I'd love to see that. On the back end, their safety play has been very underwhelming. Reed Blankenship, 42.3. He's the 84th out of 88 safeties. Horrible coverage grade, horrible run defense grade. Andrew Makuba, the rookie they drafted this year in the second round, hasn't been terrible, but hasn't been great. Pretty bad grade overall, 74th out of 80. I think he's made a couple splash plays, a couple interceptions this year, but his coverage grade has been very poor, 80th out of 89. But where he has been good is in the run game, 22nd out of 83. So the Eagles are going to play a lot of too high, and that's why we need to establish the run and try to get them to kind of bite on that, maybe bite on some play action, and then take your shots downfield with Christian Watson, Matthew Gold. I think this is going to be a huge Christian Watson day, guys. I really do. I think this is going to be like a Watson 100-plus yard game. I fully believe that. Now for the Packers offense. Actually, we can look at the Eagles base real quick. So Moro Jomo checks in. He's 8th. He's had a really good grade. Phillips, Hunt, DeJean. I guess DeJean stays on the outside in base. I don't know how much base they play. I guess I could have looked at that before starting this. But for the Packers offense, we'll go over this quick because we go over it every single week. We got Walker at left tackle, Banks at left guard, and he is practicing. He practiced yesterday with that stinger issue he left with against the Panthers. Hasn't been great. Jenkins hasn't been great. Morgan, streaky. The only two solid ones, really, Rasheed Walker and Zach Tom, more specifically Zach Tom, outside of the injuries this year, has had a really solid year. Run block grade 6, pass block 73.0. Overall, the 7th highest graded tackle out of 75 tackles. Now we finally see life without Tucker Kraft, and Luke Musgrave checked in as tight end number 1. Now, we're still going to see a lot of John Fitzpatrick. He's going to be more of that inline wide tight end where Musgrave is going to be that move tight end, the guy that you get out in space, you run, more depth routes with, kind of like we saw last week with that post out, that love hit on the right side. That's what you want to do with Musgrave. You don't really need him in line and chipping players and blocking players because when we've seen that, it hasn't been good. Someone said I'm really quiet. Let me check. It must be your volume. I just checked mine. I am definitely rocking here. I have, we're fine on the audio standard. It might be yours. I don't know. So Luke Musgrave, is going to be our tight end 1, but We're going to see a lot of Fitzpatrick. We might even see some Josh Wiley. I think we will. Obviously, bad timing with the Packers cutting Ben Sims a couple weeks ago, right before Tucker Kraft got hurt. The Vikings claimed him, so obviously they can't get him back. So they went with Josh Wiley, who's been on their practice squad since the beginning of the season. At receiver, we have Dobbs and Watson. Watson's coming back in full force, and he has changed the offense. Like, we've taken a couple shots to him, and he's made some terrific throws and plays. I think he's going to get his opportunities in this game. Just like I said, I think this is going to be a big Christian Watson game. We're still waiting out for that Matthew Golden breakout game. Will the Packers give him the targets to do so? We'll see. I just feel like they're just not utilizing him correctly. And when they are utilizing him, it's like backfield stuff. And it's like, stop with this stuff. Stop it. Do that to Savion so long he doesn't fumble the ball again. Romeo Dobbs has been our most consistent receiver in terms of availability and just catching the football and making plays every single game. Dobbs, it seems like he's their guy when they want to run a slant, a stick route on 3rd and short. That's where they're going. So we'll need other options as well, because teams are going to start to hone in on that, but we'll need other options. Love, we talked about, and Jacobs is a second highest graded PFF running back at 81.9. So now let's flip it on over to the Packers defense, the Eagles offense. Before we do so, let's go over the sleeper picks from this upcoming game. Link down in the description. Get a 100% match up to $100 with code BASS, B-A-S. Let me know what you guys think of my picks here. So I talked about Watson. So I think that line is hilariously low. Like, hilariously low. 32.5 receiving yards. That could happen in one freaking play. It did last week. I think that line is so too low. So if you guys are playing picks, making your picks, you may not agree with my rest of mine, but take that one. I'm telling you right now. Romeo Dobbs, more than 4.5 receptions. I mean, they target him so much. I think he had like 10 or 11 targets last week. I have Saquon Barkley, less than 74.5 rushing yards. Here's the thing. The Eagles' stuffed run percentage, amount of times their run gets stuffed, 23.7%, 30th in the NFL. Barkley's gotten under this mark way too much this year. It's because they can't block up front. Barkley's a terrific running back, but similarly to the Green Bay Packers, they're not finding success up front in the trenches. And I think, weirdly enough, we got torched by Rico Dowdle last week. This just feels like a game where we hold Barkley to like under 60 yards. That's just the way I feel. Could be dead wrong. It just, I guess, depends what Packers team we get as well. And then I have Josh Jacobs an anytime touchdown. I feel like it's a lock at this point. This dude scores pretty much every single week. I add it in almost every pick slip for the game. I'm doing a $10 play to win a potential $87.30. And right now, new users can get a free $20 play. No deposit needed. So if you go click the link down in the description, sign up, you'll get a free $20 play. You don't even have to make a deposit. And you can either fade my bet, probably the better idea, tail my bet, or make your own entirely you can mix and match games over the weekend. So big shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring this channel this year for the 2025 season. Definitely go check them out. Oops, I have my OBS up. There we go. I'm back. All right, let's go to the Packers defense, Eagles offense. We'll start with the Packers defense. Xavier McKinney, 74.3. 12th. He's starting to raise back up. Starting to get back up. Started the year pretty low in terms of grades and games. Wow, I did not know he was that high. Probably because of one sack, strip sack last week. Coverage grade 70.9. Run defense 75.7. He's starting to turn back into that X we remembered from last year in terms of just making some splash plays, right? That's how he knew his sound was good. Got that tech. Yeah, I was gonna say I got all like I use. I accidentally moved it up. Hold on. Let me do this so I can. God damn it. I think I need to actually move this. There we go. Okay. Yeah. I use StreamYard to highlight comments. It's like I have a whole setup, but I don't use StreamYard to actually stream, if that makes sense. It's weird. I use OBS. So I was going to say my audio is definitely good. All right. So for the Packers defense, Carrington Valentine on one side, Keyshawn Nixon on the other. Nate Hobbs out for at least the next 2 weeks. If they sign Asante Samuel Jr., it won't be before this game. Even if it was today, he probably wouldn't even play in this game. So they're going to be with Nixon, Valentine, Melton, and Haddon. One injury on the outside, and Bo Melton seeing significant snaps. I don't know if I want to see that or I'm scared of that. I don't know. I guess we won't know what we have in him as a cornerback until he's actually on the field playing it. You know, we saw it in the preseason. We saw it in training camp. That's a whole different animal than against the Philadelphia Eagles. So I don't know if I want to see Bo Melton match up against a Devontae Smith or an A.J. Brown, but I kind of, like in a weird way, want to see it. I don't know how you guys feel for that. But Valentine and Nixon on the outsides, you know, didn't have a bad game last week. I think, Bryce Young had 110 passing yards. Nixon only allowed 1 reception, did have that bad penalty in the end zone, and he's been bad with penalties. Got to clean that up. Valentine, you know, has had some great games. He's had some streaky games. Overall, I think he's our best option out there, opposite Nixon, until maybe we get some help with Asante Samuel. Then we can kind of mix him in as well if we end up signing him. But this is the look, and against Devontae and AJ, who have been so great, it's a worry. But at the end of the day, if we pressure Jalen Hurts, I feel comfortable with our defense. Now, the defensive line has to be better than they were last week. It was terrible. We had 1 sack, I think 8 pressures. Kalen King, I think, he hasn't been on this roster in a while. I feel like he's on the Falcons or something, or the Cardinals. Kalen King got claimed off our practice squad a while ago. Or no, we didn't even add him to the practice squad. We outright cut him. I don't know if he's on a practice squad or not. Let me look real quick. But they could end up, if he's on a practice squad, signing him off of it. Let's see. Kalen King's not on our team, right? Like I'm completely. Yeah, he's on the Panthers practice squad. He's on the Panthers practice squad. So, in theory, if the Packers are going to sign someone, it's going to be today. And if they're going to sign someone that, you know, they need to play, it's going to be someone that has experience with their defense. Kalen King, Corey Ballantyne. I could see that happening today. Signing Kalen King off the Panthers practice squad or signing Corey Ballantyne off the street if they are really worried about their depth, which it's a problem. So for our pass rush, like I was saying, it needs to be better. We had 1 sack last week, and it was from X. It wasn't from any front 7 player. And we had like 8 pressures. Inexcusable against that trash Panthers O-line. Micah Parsons, probably his worst game as a Packer. Did suffer a pectoral injury in the game. That could have been part of it. He's on the injury report, but he's practicing. 92.0 grade, second highest in the NFL edge. Devontae Wyatt, need a better game out of him, 71.4. Colby Wooden, 66.7. Rashawn Gary, 73.7. Colby Wooden's ready to go. He left that game with a shoulder injury, but he said he's playing this week. He's good to go. So that's great to hear because he's kind of been the backbone of our run defense, if we're being honest, which is so weird to say. 2 years ago, if you came from the future and you said Colby Wooden will be our nose tackle and the backbone of our run defense in 2025, I would laugh at you. But he has been. He's been great. In terms of our linebackers, Quay Walker, low grade this year, yet again. You could see it over the years, just hasn't been great. They accepted that 5th-year option, right? They accepted his, not Devontae's, right? Or am I getting that mixed up? We'll see if he ends up getting an extension. If they extend him, I know the Packers really like him, but if they extend him, hopefully it's not for too much money. Maybe they could upgrade here, or just turn the reins to Tyron Hopper at some point. But Quay, you know, run defense grade's been poor. Overall grade's been poor. McDuffie's been so surprising, guys. Like, McDuffie has surprised the hell out of me. PFF does hate Quay, J. Cole. Like I do agree with you. I think Quay's been playing better than this. Like, when you look at this, I think he has been playing better than this. But, you know, he hasn't been, like, where he should be at this point in his career just yet. Edge Coop, he's not at that PFF level as last year just yet, but he is a really high coverage grade. His pass rush grade, we need to, you know what I feel like we've been missing? Like, Edger and Cooper pass rush reps. I don't know if I'm just not seeing it or it's because we got Parsons and we're kind of living and dying by that. But I haven't seen much of Coop A-gap pressure. Maybe that he's been doing it and just not getting home, but remember last year when it's like every third down, it felt like Edge Coop was coming up the A gap, but now every third down, it's like Micah in the A gap. And I'm fine with that. But man, get both of them after the quarterback. I feel like that's kind of what we've been missing as well. But yeah, Isaiah McDuffie's been so impressive in the run game, man. Look at the run defense grade. 79.1. Great. Awesome. Like Parsons, he's affecting it. Yeah, I get it. On the back end, let's move this into nickel. On the back end, that's crazy. When you see a nickel, it's Wyatt, Parsons, and Igbare, Gary. Van Ness still not practicing. Won't be playing in this game. McKinney. Oh, and we already talked about the DBs. We talked about McKinney, right? But we didn't talk about Evan Williams. Evan Williams has been so solid this year. Actually has a higher grade than he did last year. He's quietly becoming one of the most solid, best safeties in the NFL. And I don't think I'm overstating that. Evan Williams is a very sound player back there. He's going to do what you need him to do and still make some splash plays. You know, week 1 with that diving interception against Goff. What's up, Holmes? When will LVN return? I'd say earliest would be Giants game, but probably after that. Probably Giants game, but he might start practicing next week in a limited fashion. That's my prediction. All right, now to finish this up, let's go over the Eagles offense. Thanks, Holmes. Appreciate it. I didn't even see the Evan Williams come up. Yeah, dude, he's just been so sound. All right, so let's start with the offensive line. Jordan Mailata, always been so good for them at left tackle, 80.2. I'm interested to see some of him against Parsons and Gary. Landon Dickerson on the inside, he's been solid for them, 66.0. Cam Jurgens, 65.7. I feel like these are high grades, but this offensive line has not been this good. Like I said, with those advanced stats, run stuff percentage, 31st. Run stop win rate, 28th. Oh, that's their defense. Their offense, they stuffed run percentage, they're 30th. Excuse me. They don't run block well. And honestly, I think Tyler Steen's been pretty poor for them. They're definitely missing Mekhi Becton. And Jurgens may be out. You're right, J. Cole. He wasn't practicing yesterday. We'll see if he practiced today. And, of course, Lane Johnson. Not what we are used to seeing, per se. Like, he's still very, very solid. One of the better tackles in the league, for sure. But he's not at that, like, holy shit, you're the best tackle in the league level this year in terms of PFF grade. Goddard at tight end's been very solid. At receivers, both of these guys, you know, they can beat you in many different ways. Devontae Smith has kind of been their guy this year. They still have Jahan Dotson in the slot, A.J. Brown on the one side. I like the matchup, A.J. Brown versus Nixon or Valentine. More so Valentine. I don't want Nixon to be against him and hold. But Valentine, I like that matchup. I think he can match the physicality of A.J. Brown. Now, Devontae Smith does scare me. This guy is a great route runner. He's quick. He seems to find open zones a lot, and he does worry me. We have Bullard in the slot, who's starting to raise his grade a bit. He was in the 50s. Now he's above average, slightly. 61.9. It is green all over here, which is crazy because their offense is 24th passing, 19th running. So maybe the PFF just favors the Eagles because their offense hasn't looked this good in terms of, you know, success. Now they're still a 6-2 football team, so you can talk about stats all you want. At the end of the day, they are a 6-2 football team that has beat a lot of good teams. The Bucs, the Rams, the Chiefs. I'm not going to throw the Cowboys in there, even though we tied them. Yikes. One thing is, you know, we're not going to play a lot of man coverage against the Eagles. If you do, Jalen Hurts is going to off to the races running. If you play man, you got to have a spy on him, like Edge Coop or something. We're going to be playing a lot of multiple zone and hopefully getting pressure on Jalen Hurts. That's going to be our recipe to success and hopefully stopping the run because we didn't do those two things last week. And given all that, we still only allowed 16 points. And at the end of the day, our offense simply just has to play better. And our defense hasn't been the problem overall. Our offense has been putting them back on the field after long drives. Teams are noticing that, hey, let's just make a long, sustainable drive against this bend but don't break defense and keep the Packers offense off the field. So when they come on the field and have an inevitable 3 and out, this defense is worn out. Now we're going to find success against them. Teams are learning to do that against the Packers because they're living by this bend but don't break style of defense. I think the Packers need to play a little bit more aggressive on defense. Maybe send some more cover 1, cover 0 looks. Get after it. I know that's man coverage and probably shouldn't be playing much man against the Eagles, but every once in a while, send the house, right? Make them make a play. Don't just sit back and wait for them to make a play. But guys, it just depends what Packers team we get. The forecast at 38 degrees, overcast clouds. We'll see if we end up getting a flurry or two here in November already. Crazy. Already November. Depends what Packers team we get. I'll be landing in Hawaii when this game's about to kick off. It'll be 2 p.m., like 2:15 p.m. in Hawaii when this game's kicking off. I think I will literally just be landing. So if I stop by a local place bar or whatever in Hawaii and catch that game, maybe I will, but won't be live on this channel for this game. So hope you guys understand that. I will be away the next week. So yeah, if you don't see any content, that's why. I'm not hiding if the Packers lose or anything. I know what's going to happen, though, because Roundtable, I had to miss after the Steelers game. And great game. Clayton filled in for me. Awesome job. And then, of course, I had to come on this week after losing to the Panthers. And I said it to the guys right before I hopped off on Wednesday. I feel like we're going to beat the Eagles. I'm going to miss the Roundtable. And then we're going to lose to the Giants. And that's the one I'm going to have to come on to again. I just feel like that's going to happen. That would be the most Packers thing. Go out here, handily beat the Eagles, lose to the Giants in New York. Right? Like, doesn't that sound very Packers-esque of 2025? But, hey, man, we'll see what happens. The Packers match up well. We have the talent. We just got to put it all together. We got to stop shooting ourselves in the foot with these dumb penalties, these dumb turnovers, and just be more efficient on offense. Our defense can stop teams. Our defense can create turnovers, create stops, can hold teams to under 20 points most games. So just a matter of if the Packers can get things rolling on offense, and maybe they can in a weird way now that Tucker Kraft is gone. Matt LaFleur kind of has to reach into his bag a little bit, right? He's been kind of stuck in this one style of offense, I feel, for the whole season that gets a little stagnant. Teams are reading it. They can see it. We're running trips left and running a bubble screen to that side or an orbit screen to that. Teams see it. And Matt LaFleur ran plays like twice in a row, multiple times in that game. Can't be doing that. Got to reach into your bag a little bit. Maybe he does this week and moving forward now that he kind of has to. But I really appreciate you guys for coming by to this game preview, Week 10 Packers versus Eagles. The final injury report will actually be out tomorrow. DJ Way, appreciate you becoming a member, man. The final injury report will actually be out tomorrow instead of today, considering we're like a day late. So, yeah, be on the lookout for that. I don't foresee too many players being held out of this game. Let me look at the Packer. I kind of forget it real quick. Obviously, Tucker Kraft got added to the IR. Nate Hobbs will be out. Van Ness will be out. And we'll see on Savion Williams. But everyone else, Colby Wooden, Tay Wicks, Golden, Aaron Banks, they should all be able to play. Jaden Reed, don't expect him back for a while. Same with Marshawn Lloyd. There were reports that they sent him out west to get his body right. And LaFleur said things look promising, but we'll see. What does that even mean? Like, we're in season, man, and he got hurt in the preseason. I don't know. I at this rate, it's a lost cause. Like, Packers are just going to have to find, I mean, they have Emmanuel Wilson, but they'll probably just end up drafting another running back next year. Like, at this rate, I'm not expecting anything from Marshawn Lloyd, unfortunately, because I had high hopes for him, but unfortunately. Thanksgiving on Reed is reported as the goal. That'd be nice. Get him back against the Lions. But yeah, guys, really appreciate you stopping by. If you could hit the like button on the way out, and if you stopped by and you've yet to subscribe, and you enjoyed the live stream, definitely consider subscribing. We post tons of Packers content here on this channel, so you won't want to miss out. So really appreciate you guys coming by. I'll catch you on the next one. And as always, go Pack, go.